Yo, what's up? Welcome to My Life Monday with Mike, your mentor. Hope your week is off to a good start. Getting a late start tonight, so I do apologize. But we'll get in quick and we'll get out. So show me a little bit of love if you're watching live. Hashtag live if you're watching the replay. Hashtag replay down below. Leave any comments. Smash that like button. Feel free to share this with anyone that you believe would get value out of this. So who am I? My name is Mike King, and I created this page for a couple of reasons, but the main reason is to help call men back to the higher calling that they have on their lives as fathers, as husbands, as leaders in our community, and as friends, because we've gotten so far away from that and what that means and what that looks like in today's world. And I firmly believe that if you turn on the news or you look outside your window and you see all the chaos that's going on in the world, it's a direct result of men not accepting responsibility or knowing how to steward these responsibilities correctly that we've been given in life. And it's shameful. And I know what that's like, right? Because I grew up without a father in my life. Who was in and out of prison until the age of 10, and then after that he disappeared. And then he came back into our life when I was 15, was around for a little bit, and then through a series of events, he disappeared again, only to come back another 2 years later with the same old song and dance about how he was going to be there for us, he was going to provide for us, how he was going to help us, and then he disappeared again. And then 2 years later, my brother tragically committed suicide. And my father showed up saying the same things. I really believe maybe he wanted to change his ways. He just didn't know how. And he went back into the wind. He was a ghost again. And then finally, 2 years later, when I graduated from college, he showed back up in my life for the last time. But this time, he was diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. Didn't look anything like what I remember him looking like. And he died shortly after that. And that's when a pivotal moment in my life happened, where I was at the funeral and I was really realizing that my father knew nothing about me. He didn't really know the things I liked. He didn't really know the things I hate. He didn't know, what my favorite ice cream was. He didn't know what my favorite color was. None of these things, right, that make up who we are as men, as people. And I was angry, extremely angry and saddened by that. And I had, at that funeral, I had an encounter with God. And he audibly spoke to me and told me, I know everything about you. And the peace that came over me from hearing that was unlike anything else. It was truly amazing. So I tell you this story to tell you that there's some things I've talked about on this page from my past, and it's really about me trying to discover what manhood looks like without having a direct role model in my house to lay that out for me. And I think a lot of men, even if they do have fathers in their house, what used to be commonplace, where we taught our sons what manhood looked like and what it really meant to be a man, and things like character and honor, things that mattered as a society as a whole, we no longer do that. And that's why we have the things that we have, the results that we have in this world. And I wanted to get back to changing that. And this is my effort to help do that. So thanks for joining in. On My Life Monday, I typically just share some things from the current week that made a difference in my life, and things that I think that might be of value to you. So the first thing I want to share is, it's at least in America, it's Suicide Prevention Month, and this week kicks off Suicide Prevention Week. And I want to share some stats with you. They're a little bit old. But the crazy thing is these numbers are not going down. They're actually going up. So this is from 2016, and as you can see, in 2016, there were a total of 44,965 deaths by suicide in the United States. And when we look up here at the demographics, we can see that the greatest amount of those suicides were ages 45 to 54, then ages 25 to 34, followed by ages 35 to 44, and then it looks like 55 to 64, and then 15 to 24. And then here's what else is crazy: 265 people ages 10 to 14. You know, I just talked with someone this past weekend who shared with me that their son was 9 years old and came to them and told them that they were thinking about committing suicide, and they had it all planned out, right? They went online, watched some videos or read some stuff, and put together this plan to take their life, right? And thank God that they had a strong enough relationship with their parent that they could go to their parent and that they could share this with them, and then they could get the help necessary to not go forward with that. Another thing I want to point out that I think is extremely important, especially for men, is you'll notice, right, in all these ratios, you know, men are easily 3 to 4 times more likely to take their lives than our female counterparts. And why is this, right? Why? Well, I believe it's because in society as men, we're told things like, you know, to keep our feelings inside, you know, that men don't cry, that we need to pull ourselves up from the bootstraps, all these types of things, which I think have their place and they're good, because we definitely wouldn't have gotten to where we've gotten in society and as a race if we wouldn't have done those things, right? They've been things that have helped our advancement as people. But at the same time, when anything is not taken in moderation, it gets abused. And somewhere along the line, we internalize these things, and that they became like the rule of thumb, right? That we don't open up and share our feelings with others for a multitude of reasons. And this is why I believe men commit suicide at a higher rate than females, because we don't share with those who are close to us. We don't put ourselves in situations or do a good job of making or putting together a community that's safe for us to go and vent and talk about the frustrations, the hurts, and the shame and the guilt that we carry as men. And another part of that that I've talked about on this page a lot is a lot of us men, we refuse to go back and deal with issues from our past that still remain unresolved. And the enemy loves to get a hold of those things and dangle them over our head and remind us about what we did back then and how we'll never get away from it and how we'll never be a better person and a better husband, a better father, a better friend because we did these things. And until we go back and we resolve those things, we can't get away from it. And I think those things start to cascade, and they put us in situations where we get tunnel vision and we can't really see the world around us and everything this world has to offer to us, and we get locked in on those things, and we feel like the only way to escape it is to take our life. So if you know somebody who's struggling, or you're struggling yourself, you know, I just want to encourage you, you know, to give this number a call. It's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, or you can even text them at 741-741 and get some of the help that you need, and start to take back control in your life and regain hope that you need. So extremely important all throughout the month of September. So a cool thing that I got to do today is take part in a a session, or I don't even know what it escapes me, but I got to be on the news and just share some of my story about dealing with suicide with my brother, and in part of an interview, and then what can be done here locally, as well as around the country. There's various walk out of darkness events that you can take part in. You know, 1 in 5 people are affected in some way by suicide, whether they had someone immediately in their family, or whether they knew somebody somewhere in their life, somebody in their community, somebody at their place of work, who took their life, and they're affected by it, and that's crazy. 1 out of 5. In some age groups, I believe it's 24 to 25 to 34. It's the second leading cause of death. The second leading cause of death is suicide. That's crazy. So I just want to encourage you, get out there, get help, and raise awareness to the stigma that's attached to it and to this problem. Because like I said before, these numbers are increasing. They're not going down, despite some of the huge efforts that people and places are bringing to mental health. And we've just got to continue to fight and do what we can to spread the word. Thinking about people affected by this, right? Like, so my brother, when he committed suicide, and at the funeral, there was more than 2,000 people there for the service. And that's crazy to think about how many people, first, second, and third hand, that affected in our community, and the effects of that still to this day, that people have to deal with and live with. I'm sure this week I'll post a video on my page, and on the Mike Your Mentor page, about my own struggles, even 17 years later, dealing with my brother's suicide and the unforgiveness that I had towards myself, and how that affected me. So I just want you to be encouraged. So now I'll move on to something a little bit lighter. Gonna leave this up here for anybody. But yeah, so me and my family, we started boxing. It's been a good workout. It's been a good outlet for us. Yeah, thanks, Amanda. Appreciate that. For me, it's gotten better as time has went on. But I don't think I struggle with it the way that my mom and my sister do. It's super heavy on their hearts this time of year. So yeah, if you believe in the power of prayer, my family could definitely use your prayers, because this month and next month can be a pretty rough time for our family. So yeah, back to boxing. So my knuckles are starting to heal up. Get some good scarring on there, punching that bag. But yeah, so we got a new addition to the family boxing workout, and I'm affectionately going to call this person Little Scrapy, and that's my daughter. She's 9 years old, and she's been coming and working out with us. It's pretty cool that they let kids come there and get in the workout. There was another little kid there tonight who was getting after it, so it was cool to see. My daughter, she's learning, and it's good for her. This is her first, I guess, type of organized exercise, instead of just running around the neighborhood with the neighborhood kids. And it's really helped her to go to sleep right when she gets in bed. So it's been good. All right, so that's that. And then I want to just share one more thing with you guys, and then we'll get out of here. So I got a confession, right? So I talk a lot about what we need to do as men, and what our roles are in the family, and how we are tasked with the responsibility of headship, and how that's different than leadership. And the way, yeah, she is the next leader. Well, I don't know about that, Vale, but she's working on it. We'll see. But this whole thing with leadership and headship, right? And I guess my confession is I haven't been doing a very good job of walking that out in my family the way that it could. Summer tends to be a time where you get out of a routine and kids aren't in school, and it's kind of a free for all, right? A lot of stuff going on, a lot of vacations, a lot of different things, and now that we're getting back into school, just solidifying a routine, and it really struck me that I needed to do a better job of making sure that my family is on the same page with our household task, and just keeping things running smooth and together. So we're supposed to have a family meeting tonight, but there was some interruption to that. So we're going to try to get that done tomorrow if possible. But my goal is definitely this week to sit down with my wife and kids and just go over a couple things. And I want to just share those things with you in case you're interested in doing it with your family. I think it's great. It's just a good little exercise to get you talking and to get you on the same page. So there's 3 questions that I'm going to ask. So the first question is, I'm going to ask my kids, what do you like that other families do? They've been around enough families. They've been in enough families' households to have an opinion on things that they like. And then my goal is to, be able to take some of those, if they're reasonable, and figure out a way to implement those in our own family. And then 2 would be the opposite of that. What don't you like that other families do? Because you definitely in life, you want to think about the things that you enjoy, but you also want to think about the things that you don't enjoy. Sometimes it's part of life doing things that you don't enjoy, but anytime you can take stock of those things and just be conscious of it and work away from those things, I guess is what I would say, is definitely a good thing. So we'll get that input from the kids. And then finally, sorry if you hear that noise, Barry the bunny's going a little crazy tonight. What would you change about our family? That should be a very interesting question. I can't wait to hear what comes out of Michaela's mouth on that one. Yeah, so these are the 3 questions I'm going to sit down and we're going to discuss, and then we're going to take it from there and do a better job of getting on a routine together as a family as a whole. And that starts with me, right? Making sure that this happens and we have this discussion, and then not just leaving it there, but bringing follow through to that. So I tell you that to be vulnerable, because it's real life, and 2, so that this will help hold myself accountable to making sure that this stuff gets done. So as always, if you need to talk, you got something that's heavy on your heart, maybe something from your past is sneaking back up and you've never really dealt with it, and you're looking for some guidance on that, hit me up. I'm here for you. I'll help you however I can, because I know what that's like. I know what it's like to battle those things every single day, and it's not good to do those things alone. And we all have blind spots, every single one of us, myself included. And when we're not getting input from somebody who has no dog in the race, then we remain blinded, and liable to make foolish mistakes that hurt ourselves and hurt other people. So yeah, if it's not me, I definitely encourage you to find somebody safe in your own sphere, who won't judge you and can be that voice of reason to help you think through things, and even if it's not to give you any advice, just to listen, so that you can get those things off your chest, because there's power when we bring things to the light. They can no longer have any control over us. They can't affect our mood. They can't affect how we feel about ourselves. It's really amazing. Don't know why it works, don't know how it works, just know that it does. So yeah, be encouraged. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday Thoughts. Have a good night.